Welcome to the Objective Perspective. I'm Chase.
And I'm Thomas.
And this is going to be a bit of a different episode. We're testing out some new mics. This actually sounds good than being in a library room and being a little bit more quiet, because people have yelled at me for being too loud in a library, which I feel is appropriate.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's odd to have quality equipment now. Like,
So, we're at the UT school. This is a quality space. No one told me about this for the first semester I was here. This was never told to me that there's a thing like this here. It was only a week ago when a teacher brought it up. I walked up and said, "Yo, what is this?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it's a place we have. You can go here if you want to." And I was like, no one told me this. Did they tell people? And they're like, no. And I was like, can I use it? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well,
I think that's like an intentional like mechanism to keep it from being overused.
Maybe.
It's because there's no actual restrictions on this room. It's that like they don't tell that many people about it.
Yeah,
so
I guess
people just don't use it because they don't know about it.
Yeah, and my teacher's like, it's underused is what he said. He's like, it's actually underused now? And I'm like, oh, I'll use it on every Saturday then if you let me.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Saturdays and Sundays are like, looks pretty free. And Saturdays are like the most limited time and everyone's doing stuff on Saturdays. So I'm going to take it and just drive to school and use it, which is pretty easy. But this is a video game podcast, not a school, about the UT dynamics of knowing where things are, and it's too big of a school to figure out where things are actually. So let's talk about Call of Duty World War II.
Because have they confirmed that that's what they're doing for the...
They haven't confirmed, but that's the leak, and it's been looking that way for a long time.
I mean, I remember the last official statement I heard about the Call of Duty for this year was that they wanted to go back to their roots, quote unquote.
Which would be World War II.
Yeah, which would be World War II.
That's the roots.
I mean, for me, I was like, it could either be World War II, or if they're saying in like a more broad perspective, it basically just means getting rid of, like wall running and that kind of like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I think when they say roots, you're probably going to get rid of all that and go back to World War II, which I'm okay with.
Probably ditching like a lot of gun customization and whatnot too.
I don't think they'll get rid of that, to be honest.
I don't think they'll get rid of it entirely, because World at War had it. Even.
Yeah.
Like to a more limited degree, because, well, what logically existed back in the time period they were using. With some stretch, like rifle grenades didn't work nearly as well as...
No, I mean, like everything's going to work 100% perfectly, except for like, if you shoot a lot, the gun's going to spray a little bit more. Like the normal things that happen, but like when you throw a grenade, it's not going to be a dud ever. Like, that.
the normal stuff that gamers accept.
Yeah.
That balance between realism and BA ability.
And being a video game and having a fun time.
I want to still have fun. I don't want to like be playing my World War II game and die of trench foot or something. Like,
I mean, that's just you. For me, I've been like waiting for that game this whole time. I thought Verdun was going to be that maybe, and I didn't get it. Have you heard the people complaining in Battlefield 1 for the new DLC, actually, before we get more into World War II COD?
About the
match is lasting? Yeah, no, the match is lasting like 3 hours, like going back and forth, and someone said, "Welcome to World War I" as like a comment. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I played a match that lasted like 2 hours, I think I was in, for 2 hours.
Admittedly, when I play Battlefield 1, or when I play Battlefield in general, like, it usually means I have time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long game.
I've accepted that. Like, especially if I jump into Conquest, like they do have modes, like they have team deathmatch and stuff since Battlefield 3. Those, like, if you want a short, like, quick match, like more like that, they have that for you. But if you're wanting like the full Battlefield experience, free your clock for like an hour to 3 hours.
Yeah, apparently now it's like free your clock for a whole day. People are complaining about it. I'm like, Battlefield, I mean, don't play the new map then, but also like that's kind of what I want. And, like, very long, drawn out. Yeah. Like everyone's a little tired by the end of it.
Yeah, like some people are complaining. I'm like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like some of my favorite memories from like Battlefield 4 when I'd jump into like custom servers that had like the max amount of respawn tickets, which was 1,000 per team, like that. Those were like 2.5 hour games, and I loved it. I played Operation Metro for Battlefield 4, like the remade version of Operation Metro, for like 2.5 straight hours one time. And then it was a little frustrating because I was trying to get a gun.
I remember this story. Tell me the story. I actually like this story a lot. This is a good story.
Battlefield, when you get the DLCs, they add new weapons, right? And so you think, oh, they give me the weapon. No, you got to earn the weapon through challenges, not through like leveling up, because, it wasn't there at the start, so they can't just add it to the leveling meter. So one of the guns in Battlefield 4 from the DLC was the F2000, which in Battlefield 3, I used a pretty good amount, and in Bad Company 2, I used a pretty decent amount. It was a pretty good gun. And everybody's like, in Battlefield 4, it's great. And I was like, all right, what do I have to do? And you had to get 3 assist ribbons, which meant 6 assists per ribbon.
So 18 assists
yeah,
total.
in one match.
Yep.
and get 7 kills inside the Metro of Metro in the same, and you had to do these in the same game.
Yeah.
Because they both required you to do them in a game.
Yes.
And it would reset even if you got one but not the other. So I spent 2.5 hours playing Metro trying to get a bunch of assists, and it didn't happen.
And you just gave up, right?
Yeah, that was like, as soon as I played that and I didn't get it, I was like, all right, I'm not getting the F2000. That's fine. I accept this. I move on.
I'm letting myself get rid of this.
Yeah, it's like I just wasted 2.5 straight hours on top of the hours I had spent before that, like in separate games. I was like, I've spent too much time trying to unlock this one thing, and to this day, it's like one of 5 things that I haven't unlocked in Battlefield 4.
Is that like going to be like a one day where you try to get back and finish it, like get that cross off your chest?
I bet it will be the first game when I come back.
Yeah, easy. You're all warmed up, ready to go. Boom, done.
That's like when I played I've been playing Dark Souls 3 again because the Ringed City came out.
Yeah.
But when it came out, I still had the last boss of the first DLC to finish. And so it had been like so many attempts when I'd last played because it's just a long fight.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, all right, I'll come back in. I'll beat this boss. And then I beat it on my first attempt. And I was like, okay.
That's how I feel like Dark Souls all the time too. Is like I get on that game and I like get stuck on something and I always like feel like I give myself like 3 to 4 tries and I'm like, all right, time to take a break. I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow and I'll crush it.
Yeah,
and
you come back like less frustrated.
Yeah, and you're like got it easy. You're like less tense, more loose with it. You kind of see the patterns a little better. And that's how I feel Dark Souls has to be played. You're like on little bursts almost. Like it's like get to a boss, and if you don't beat that boss, like the first couple times, like take a break, call it a day, and then come back tomorrow.
Like don't get me started on Ringed City. Like I need that for that. I think Dark Souls 3 is like one of the hardest of the 3, if not the hardest of the Soul series. And I think Ringed City might be the single hardest area I've played. I haven't even gotten to a boss yet.
You're just getting crushed.
Yeah, they have these like enemies. They're called like the Merc people or something. I don't know what they're quite called. But
the Mer people.
Yeah, but that's most of the standard unit like crawls on the ground with like a little like scythe thing, and they have an attack where if they all start swarming you, one of them will grab you and like drag you down and like do damage.
That doesn't seem like a good time.
No, and it takes out like over half my health, and I have like 840 health at this point. That's a lot of health. Yeah, and I'm wearing like I have like
armor?
40. Yeah, I have like 48% like physical damage absorption.
Gotcha.
With my armor. I mean, they do dark damage too.
Gotcha.
So that,
do you have 48 physical? Like, is it slashing, piercing, or?
Mostly piercing, I believe.
Gotcha. So that might be slashing then.
Yeah, I guess they gotta be, but it's just like, it is ridiculous.
I think we both just got the same messages over and over again if we're on the same Discord. Yeah,
we're getting the same messages from the same Discord.
I think we both pull out our phones like, what's going on? Okay, yeah, all right. But back to Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah,
getting
sorry,
wherever. No, it's great. I like getting off topic because it brings weird conversations.
It really does.
I love fluidity. All right, give me that.
For one last statement before we go back to the subject. Ahead. Ringed City, great. Hard as hell. But
gotcha.
if you like Dark Souls, then you already are a little bit of a masochist.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they said on their website it was like recommended level 100 before you start this.
Jesus.
I'm level like 110 and I'm having a hard time.
Gotcha. See, I started replaying Dark Souls 3 to get to the first DLC, and I've taken a break. There's so many games started coming out that I've just taken a break. I don't even know what level. I'm not even close to level 100, so I guess it'll be a long time before I get to the Ringed City.
Oh, yeah. And Ashes of Ariandel, the first DLC, they recommend you're like level 60 minimum. So
gotcha. So it'll take a bit. It'll take a bit.
And Ashes is not easy.
No, I've watched some stuff that does not seem like an easy, good time. No.
And that's like a thing with Dark Souls DLC is like...
They're always hard.
The first attempt is always... Like the base game is always hard. And then they don't start working on the DLC until they finish the game.
Yeah.
So they watch how... I'm assuming they probably watch how people play it. They figure out what kind of strategies people rely on, and they build their DLCs to challenge that.
Yeah, I love I think every Dark Souls DLC is good. I don't think I've played a bad one yet, and then like for everyone.
Yeah, and they're just I think it's just quality like game design.
Just quality entertainment, if you ask me.
I think 1 probably has the worst game design, but if only because it was also their first attempt.
Well, second attempt actually.
Well, yeah, because if you count Demon Souls, but Demon Souls I've heard like has actual game-breaking bugs in it.
Demon Souls is a crazy game that I brought with me to the 24/7 thing. Also, support studentvoices.org. This has nothing to do with or affiliated with TSTV.
Yeah, we're not really,
but
we're
a part
all
of
people who are on TSTV.
We're all people who are on TSTV. So if you have time to drop some donations, that'd be great if anyone actually out there is listening. So, or, if you come back and we're all famous also, and you come back to this day, this happens once a year and we'll be back on there next time. Maybe unless I'm dead. So, hopefully I'm not. But I'm not going to dream bigger than that.
Exactly.
Call of Duty World War II.
World War II.
What do you want? Like that's my option. You're a big first-person shooter fan like me. Like not a lot of people, I think, actually in our show are big first-person shooter fans.
It's
but us.
such an odd thing to me too.
Yeah.
I guess it's because they're like, I have to not be a part of the main crowd.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, you both love like Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, and we were like the weird ostracized group, which is strange from like where I've been before.
So strange.
It's strange. Like Joe's like, man, I don't like playing multiplayer games. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, what are you? Anyway, back from aside from talking about how weird our friends are.
Yeah.
I would say honestly something a lot like World at War if they're going back to like World War II.
So do you want like I'm more also asking like setting area like so do you want Pacific theater? Or do you want more of the European front, or do you want a mix of both? Like,
I think I would like a mix of both. I thought again, if we're going to talk about Call of Duty World War II games, I think World at War, like, it was cool that you got to see Pacific theater, America, but not like all just the parts that you would expect to see.
Yeah.
You saw like the smaller attacks, like things that didn't make the newspapers, or at least, they weren't like the battles that we all remembered.
Yeah.
And in the same regard, I thought it was great that you got to play it as a member of the Red Army in that game. Like, that's the part that America, like, ignores entirely because we went straight from the end of to an extent the beginning of World War II, but we went from the end of World War II to like hating the Russians immediately, so we wanted to like downplay that part.
I think I like Call of Duty 2 is still one of my favorite Call of Duty games. It's like introduced me. I actually played Call of Duty 1 then 2. Didn't introduce me, but I like Call of Duty 1. I love Call of Duty 2. It's like the perfect launch game for me. And that game has a great Russian campaign. It takes all like at the very end, it takes all place right in the middle of the winter where they're being invaded, and you're like crawling around through the sewers or in pipes
played
above.
Call of Duty 2.
Dude, Call of Duty 2 is so good, and that game like taught me why I love the PPS-8. Like, it's the first gun you get really, and you're just like spraying into Nazis like, and then there's snow, so just like blood's flying out. It's really like campy and fun.
Oh god,
you should play COD 2. It's one of the best. I
need to.
It is such like it's so weird going back and playing that game. It was so revolutionary, or the ideas were so unique when it came out. Like,
and now it's
rechargeable health wasn't like a really big thing besides Halo, and this game brought it forward. And this game had multiplayer online. It was so interesting, and it's nothing like Call of Duty
today.
3 or 4. It's so different than all that. But it's such an interesting. It's like the best groundwork for what it became. This Call of Duty 1 feels more like a Medal of Honor ripoff, and Call of Duty 2 still feels like that.
Medal of Honor was
things.
like the big series when Call of Duty 1 came out. So like honestly, it probably was like meant to be a Call of Duty ripoff.
Yeah, I mean,
or a Medal of Honor ripoff.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like it was like with those competing brands of like not ripping off, but like we're gonna do just as well as you.
Yeah, that's like we want to do the same thing you did, but we want to do it better.
Of course.
And then Call of Duty 2 is like we want to do the same genre and time period, but we want to do it. We want to do it the way we do it.
Yeah, I love the Call of Duty series. I always have. I even like where they've gone. I think Infinite Warfare. I think I rated it too high on the show, but I like that game. I thought it was good. I thought that was.
I'm actually thinking of picking it up soon.
You should play it just for the campaign. That campaign is better than any other campaign I've played from Call of Duty.
I'm assuming you have it on the PS4.
PS4, had it on the PS4.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking it up, and Josh has it on the PS4, but he doesn't have a PlayStation Plus. So if I do,
well, if you ever want to play, hit me up. You can always hit me up on Discord. You know that, and I respond pretty quick.
You do.
But
yeah, no, like I still haven't played Infinite Warfare, so I can't speak for Infinite Warfare. For me, I think while Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer haven't really like captured me in a while, I think Treyarch has been killing it.
Yeah, I think Treyarch's been doing really well. I thought Black Ops
3 was like incredible.
I thought Black Ops 3 was real good. I thought it was more.
I will say like it's not like
same.
I was gonna say I won't. Let me backtrack slightly. Like maybe not incredible, but I loved. I thought they did like the mobility stuff pretty well, even though it was something I'd seen before. I thought they did it better than Titanfall 1. Not as good as Titanfall 2 would eventually make it.
Yeah.
But I loved the campaign, mainly because it just played on like such weird, crazy, high concept ideas.
Yeah.
And like maybe it delivered in some areas, maybe it didn't quite deliver in others, but like it was them trying. Like I saw effort from a writing team to like push forward this really unique world and this really unique like
there's some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is not like one of my favorite games. I actually like it a lot less than I think you do. But it has one of my favorite set pieces in a Call of Duty game is when you're inside the female lieutenant's like brain, and like
as
the world's
like,
upside down, so you're like enemies and they're just flying off the edge, and you can see the whole world like twisted up
as her like mind is slowly dying while you're digging through it.
It is so cool. That is like one of the coolest parts in that game.
The tree.
The tree
and the zombies
and the weird zombie moment.
I was like, what is going on?
It is such a weird moment, and like weird concepts start coming out. It's one of the coolest things, I think. And like
I think
also tying it all back to World War II. That was a World War II moment. She's fighting Nazis, and she's like, oh, I was a big historian. So it's all coming together.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because it told you about this character through level design,
which
is like, I thought level design was one of the huge things they did well in that campaign too. Like not just talking about the actual plot, but the level design I thought was interesting. For me, I know it's like, oh, bombshell plot twist moment, but at the very end of the game, when your like neural network thing reboots and that one guy's like, what's your name? And you immediately say the name of the guy you thought you've been hunting the whole time. Like I was mainly because it motivated me to immediately go back and start like digging through the campaign and realize what they were doing. The fact that it was kind of like you were in the past, but you never realized it. Like you were going through a dead, well, not dead. He wasn't dead. You were dead.
You were dead.
But you were a dead person going through the memories of somebody else for something else to learn something about itself.
Yeah, it's so strange and like so weird.
It's so cerebral. Like that's what I loved about it. Like when you go back from it with that perspective. And the thing is, they don't hide it like so far under the surface that you never see it.
Yeah,
it's just hidden enough that you're not gonna look for it.
Yeah, it's like kind of there, like you can kind of see it, but you're not like, but you're not told to look for it. And then when you're like, oh, I can find this all now.
Yeah, like if you pay attention to the scrolling text at the beginning of every level, like the scrolling text at the beginning of the third level tells you that your character died on the operating table. Like that's in that scrolling text. Like it's laid out right in front of you. It goes really fast. You immediately have to like pause if you want to read it. But the fact that that's all there, and I thought that was clever writing in that regard.
Yeah, there's some like clever stuff in there.
Yeah, and there's like certain discrepancies between the first level, which is when the only level that your character is actually alive, so to speak. I guess technically you're like comatose in the second level.
Yeah.
And then your consciousness is inside.
Then my consciousness is inside another person.
Yeah. Which is, again, what I thought was like they could have just stuck with, all right, you have a neural thing in your back.
Yeah.
That's how you control your robo arms and legs, and just left that as all that technology did. Instead, that little piece of technology, the neural interface, became like the whole like crux of the plot. The idea of like you have a computer hooked up to your mind. What does that mean as a human being that your personality can be condensed down to this code? What does that mean for the machine that operates that? And what does that mean when you can connect that to everybody else and when that goes haywire? Like they just like, they had a concept and they were like, instead of just putting it in the background and having a plot over it, they were like, let's bring this to the forefront and ask like some interesting questions about what it means to be this.
Yeah, I think the choice it gets wrapped up in on its own dick kind of a little bit. Like I think I'd rather like tackle what you're talking about way more forwardly and openly than kind of like background stuff. Is like then at the end it like goes like, oh, so it was a huge twist the whole time. This weird plot we have, because the main plot then kind of feels like odd. Not as good as like, unless they just tackle like the main plot with that as like the main idea to it.
Yeah, and I will say I feel like part of the reason that kept me moving forward after a certain point was starting to think like something was off. Mainly when you meet the guy that you rescued in the first mission and he doesn't remember you at all. Yeah. And is talking about a revolution that if you remembered like the little bit of flavor chat that people are having had already happened in the first mission. That's That's when you really start to think like, this isn't right. Like, something is off. Like,
yeah, and I almost wish they just went full offness, like, and kept that right in your face instead of like having that kind of more hidden.
They kind of did in the beginning. I think they could have made it so it was like more obvious once you started meeting people you already like met. Yeah, I think that should have been when they tipped their hat a little more.
Yeah, I think
The interesting thing is some of those things are there. Like, for example, in the first mission, when you first meet the Cyber Black Ops Commando guys, when you meet, I remember getting his name wrong in the Game of the Year podcast. John Taylor.
John Taylor. Generic man.
When you first meet John Taylor, which I thought it's also interesting from the perspective of you learn so much about this character without realizing you're him, and then when you realize you are, I don't know, it makes a lot of things like make sense about him.
Okay.
But if you notice on his arm, he's wearing the scarf that your like Black Ops CIA handler that traveled with you the rest of the game that you became like low-key romantically involved with, but really because that was Taylor being romantically involved with her, is like on his arm in that first mission. And when you're like waking up from the hospital bed, you see her leaving, because that's like the distortion of the memory is like that part is from when he first went under. Like, I don't know, it's interesting to think of how they wrapped things together, but I do wish like the middle portion had a little more of that.
Yeah, I wish there's like it was more up front, but
anyway,
we have to stop getting World War II. We're excited. I know you love Black Ops 3. I feel like I will
say my favorite plot is still Black Ops 1.
Black Ops 1's great. I think that's like such an that was like the first time Call of Duty was like, we're gonna have like a more interesting story. I don't think,
and they kept it a lot more self-contained than Black Ops 3, and I think that worked in its favor.
Yeah, and I think the twist there sealed deal. Like we're saying Black Ops 3, I think messed up. The twist doesn't deal with the main plot in the way I want it to. Where in Black Ops 1, that twist works within what the plot is doing.
Yeah, and it gave slightly more tips of the hat to that twist. Like whenever like you were in the rat tunnels and you talked to Reznov, and then the dude in front of you is like, "What the fuck you doing, Mason?" You're like, "What are you talking? I'm sorry, I stopped." And then when you go back, you're like, "Oh, he's saying because I was talking to nothing for like 5 minutes."
Because I'm just a crazy human. And they're like, "Oh, I guess it's fine. He's just Mason." And then you kill the president. Which is implicitly, which is the best thing of all time.
I do love that they like you like barely notice it when you first play through, but then you kind of notice it after the end. Like they skip a gap. There's a large gap in time between when you break out of Vorkuta and when the story picks up again with you in Vietnam after you went to the Pentagon.
Yeah,
where you had that vision where you like held like a 1911 up against like JFK's head.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like. It's something that like you're like, oh, that was weird. They must have been programming to kill the president. Then all of a sudden, the next mission, it's like, okay, President JFK is already dead, and you're in Vietnam. It's like,
oh, strange how that happened.
But like you ignore it. But then when they show you at the end, like in the crowd in Dallas, you're like,
oh.
Or if you listen, like in the mission where you're like breaking the mind control when they finally reveal it to you.
Yeah.
When he's walking at one point, he says Oswald compromised moving to position is like something he mumbles to himself.
It's so good.
It's so great.
Black Ops 1 is such a crazy, weird thing that happened.
Yeah, I'm also like, I'm biased. I love anything with an unreliable narrator and a Cold War era espionage setting.
Yeah, you're definitely
Black Ops 1. Yeah, Black Ops 1 was like literally like OT bait, Thomas bait, just wrapped up in one.
I love World War II stuff. I'm a history major for a reason right now.
Yeah.
And World War II is always something that interests me even as a kid, which sounds like really morbid and disgusting in a way. But it's such interesting learning about that war and how it all happened politically, and then like the battles that came from it. It's so cool. I love just being in that setting a lot, and I'm definitely just like I'm ready for more World War II stuff, and I don't want.
And I'm ready to see that too, especially with like new graphics and everything.
Yeah, like a really high res stuff, and like I'd be okay with them going over old war stuff too, like they've done in Call of Duty 2, 3, 5, like going over those theaters again and just doing the same battles again, but making them look better and having more interesting level design and stuff.
I'd honestly be interested to see like. They say storming the beach at Normandy was like the overplayed thing in like old World War II games, but I think we've had enough time away from World War II. I would love to see high-res, like new game developers coming in and trying to take on like tackling the beach in Normandy.
I would say I'm not ready for Normandy again. I'm ready for like I'd want another graphical leap than Normandy. Because like, I want to like actually want to put down the game after playing Normandy and feel sick for a bit. Like that's what I want.
I think they have that capability now. Like I hate to harp Spec Ops The Line's praises because I do it all the damn time.
You do?
But
Spec Ops The Line
made me feel like sickened with what I did.
Yeah.
Partially because of the visible fidelity of it, like the actual like graphics of it. So I think it's possible from like a AAA studio if they took their time and really like made it right.
Yeah.
That they could make Normandy like a fresh experience again.
I think if they wanted to go for something fresh to feel disgusting and hard, they should just do Iwo Jima then at that point. If you want to go all the way and disgusting like horribleness.
If we want to skip, like if we want to knock that out of the equation, want to knock Normandy out of the equation, I know they did Stalingrad in World at War.
Yeah.
But their version of Stalingrad was like everybody was already dead and you were like the lone person there.
Yeah.
Show me the absolute shit of Stalingrad. Like,
it's real bad.
If you're gonna put me in like the Red Army again, put me in the middle, not near the end, not near the beginning. Put me like right in the center when it's been like 4 months and food's running out and I'm stuck in a
Just make it a survival sim is what you're saying?
Honestly, like if you want to do the Battle of Stalingrad justice in a game, it needs to not be action, it needs to be survival horror. Like you read about how Russia was during Stalingrad and it's just like it's nuts to think about.
Yeah, it's
and so give me that side of Stalingrad.
It's a little wild. Joe's apparently coming and is going to crash this in a second.
That's fine.
I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll figure it out.
I mean, how did we set up, or how did...
I'm just going to turn on another mic and just see what happens. I think that should be fine, actually.
Hold on, turn on mic 3. Let's just...
Okay, turn on mic 3. I'm turning on mic 3 now. This is our little test episode.
Yeah.
Mic 3's on. Go ahead over there. Yeah, just slam it down there. It's good. I like that.
Is that recording?
That's recording.
Awesome. All right. So
just keep talking for a little bit, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to sit here. I'm going to keep talking. I'm talking into the microphone.
Tell me about Destiny 2. Destiny 2 just started having... No, go back to that microphone this instant, young man.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about... Sorry for the mic handling.
Yeah, it's great. I actually really like it when things fuck up completely.
All right. So it does feel natural, you know? It feels more human when we're not perfect.
Yeah, well, I said I like the fluid nature of all this. I liked it when it just really screws everything up, actually, is what I was trying to say. When everything's a gosh darn nightmare and we all squeak a mic out, I should have like turned the mic off when you did that, but I didn't even think about it.
I apologize.
Hey.
But anyway, what I was going to say, Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 trailer just popped.
Yeah, it just kind of
popped off.
It was like 2 days before the Destiny 2 trailer like popped. They did a teaser trailer.
Did you almost say popped off too?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Like 2 days before they did a teaser trailer and then they did a trailer. Like after saying, yeah, we're going to announce it soon, they just did it. Which seems to be more of like it's becoming a pattern with the video game industry that people do more surprise like announcements, which I kind of like. I miss the days when I was actually surprised by something, looking at you, Marvel Cinematic Universe, always telling us every movie for the next 12 years.
So, this felt super. Destiny 2. So I follow a few people who like cover Destiny as like almost their journalism. Like I'm going to talk about. He like put a book out on how Destiny was made. Jason Schreier. He's like Destiny 2 is going to pop soon, and I was like, okay, got it. And they're like, Destiny 2 popped off. I'm like, yeah, okay. And like I was like so unsurprised by anything.
I was, but I wasn't an like insider. I just knew they were saying soon.
Yeah.
And then they didn't make like a post to say here's when the teaser goes up, which is what people do
they're
these
like,
days.
Here's our teaser, and then here's our actual trailer.
They used a teaser and a trailer the way a teaser and a trailer are meant to be used.
That's
the teaser is meant to tease the trailer.
But how do you feel about the trailers? Me, I didn't feel anything. I almost felt a little like, just get in here. It's already recording. You're already like late.
Oh, I thought you guys were well into it.
No, we're well into it. You're already late. It's
just
like,
hop on mic.
You can't like sneak in here. Mic's on. Mic's hot. Get in here.
How hot?
It's like
this is an enclosed room.
This is enclosed. Put the headset on.
Yeah, that's gonna
get in here.
So fancy.
Feel that. Feel it.
It feels so professional.
I can smell
That's Thomas. You're sitting where Thomas was sitting.
I'm Joe. Hi everybody. Sorry for the wait. 24/7 is
gonna
be great.
Sorry for the wait. Monster.
Well, anyway.
Got here, sat down.
Yeah. Okay. What were you talking about? Excuse
me.
All
right. Destiny 2 trailer just popped off. Is what we said.
Okay.
You're still using popping off.
So we're still in news.
We're still we got real off topic for 25 minutes probably.
Topic,
we talked about
great.
Yeah, we're back in it. Destiny 2 coming off. I'm hesitant on it is what I would say.
I mean, I'm hesitant on it because I played Destiny 1 and bought it. So like I don't have it anymore. I sold it before any of the DLC came out and people say the DLC really changed it for the better, but hesitant.
I wouldn't even say I think it changed it for the better, but like it's like $90 for the better, so it still kind of sucks to like be like I have to play this weird DLC to make it better, and that didn't make anything good. But Tell me when you're good, Thomas. Okay, mic's back on. This is real good. I like this setup a lot, but God, is this all a nightmare right now?
Yeah, this first one's a little bit of like troubleshooting, but it's gonna be great. I
love the part where we had one mic on, and then he got up and started messing with the mic as I turned it on. It's been a wild episode today. It's been a little wet and wild.
Yeah, we like just turned this one on when you texted him and said that you were gonna come over. So
perfect. So Destiny 2.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the tone?
I thought it was. I don't like it at all.
Oh, really?
I'm so tired of fucking...
It's very against our taste.
Yeah.
It's Nathan Fillion playing Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, like that's what it was.
And but I enjoyed that.
Like I like Nathan Fillion. Like I mean, I like him.
I get that Nathan Fillion plays the exact same character.
I'm like, it's like
he's in.
Here's one character being like, I think that was God, one of my favorite supporting actors is playing the Blue Man, and he's like, we're gonna take back the Citadel or whatever he was saying. I don't know what the sphere is gone. We're gonna take it back, and then Nathan Fillion's like, we're all gonna die, but there's loot, and I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, you see, I loved that when to me it was like the two sides of Destiny players these days are the people who take it way too seriously and the people who are in it for the loot.
I don't even
like
enter for
they
the
kinda
story.
wanted
The story of Destiny is so stupid. It's just like, we need this. You got to be the Guardians because a sphere picked me up and was like, "You're a Guardian now, buddy." And I was like, "What is this dumb thing that's happening right now?"
And I don't want to be cliched either, but it's like I still don't know the story. Like I know
There
everyone
is-
says that, but it's like I still don't.
Yeah, there is no story. Like the story
Yeah.
is like you get picked up by a thing called
Ghost, and it's like,
ghost,
you were
yeah.
dead for a long time, and it's like, okay.
space wizards from the moon, and you're like, "Got it, Captain." And then you go, like, that's an actual line that they took out of the game because everyone made fun of it from
I
the
liked
beta.
that line.
I liked it too. I like Peter Dinklage going, "Wizards from the moon," and you're like, "Yeah, all right,
No,
Dinkle."
it's not wizards from the moon. It's like, that wizard came from the moon.
And you're like, yeah,
It's-
okay, yeah.
It wasn't. It didn't become a meme just because the line itself was silly. It's because the delivery made it so much worse
Man, Peter
and so much better.
Peter Dinklage in Destiny 1 was such an awful like voice actor for that. It was
Peter-
so bad.
Peter Dinklage, like,
he
seems,
didn't care.
he seems to not care about voice acting in general.
He
'Cause I've
doesn't.
heard. I haven't played the Telltale Game of Thrones series, but I've heard his performance in that is really underwhelming too.
Yeah,
and he's playing freaking Tyrion.
and he's a great actor. Is like the thing.
yeah.
Video games are the inferior medium.
Yeah,
That's how
they're-
these
they're
series
not
do.
art. They're not. We can all agree they're not art, right? Like we can
Uh,
finally get around to that.
Huh.
Settle the debate once
Yeah,
and for all.
let's just
let's-
settle this debate. Video games
not-
aren't art. It's over. We're done.
No, I'm not agreeing to that.
Persona 5's art though. Like
Persona
also,
5.
but we're
Persona
not
fi-
talking about that. We're
Persona
talking about the new.
Persona 5 doesn't exist. Persona 5 is just a gaslighting campaign by the Japanese government to convince us that they've released a new game.
I want to like talk about why you're wrong and like in marriage to
Why
the
I'm-
game. No, be quiet. I know you're wrong, but like the game actually is so interesting. But we're not talking about switches
Why
are
I'm
melting. By
wrong.
the way, Destiny
So-
2 trailer popped. Who cares? Game looks like garbage. Switches are melting. What's up?
Well,
Wait,
hang on,
wait,
hang on. I have to stop you there because we don't know what the game looks like, so I feel uncomfortable.
Flip the red
saying-
light. Heck yeah, we're recording, boys.
I feel uncomfortable
on.
saying the game looks like garbage because it's
Hold
just
on.
a CG trailer.
I know. That was me being hyperbolic.
Hold
I
on.
don't like the tone.
Okay,
Hold
me
on.
too.
Switches are melting?
Okay.
Next subject.
They're not
Switches be melting.
They're warping.
They're warping.
So you know how
Wow.
switches
So
are.
Nintendo put out poor hardware.
Yeah.
Well, okay, they're a flat tablet, right, Thomas?
So what's new? Yeah.
they're a flat tablet.
Nothing's new, but it's still bad. Is what we're
They're-
saying.
When they're in handheld mode, they're overheating so much to the point that they are bending inwards.
So Nintendo released poorly designed hardware.
Hey, the Wii was perfectly designed. I don't want to hear it.
In this case, I don't even want to say poorly. I just want to say rushed. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
much
think-
more accurate.
I think
it
poorly
is-
and
I
rushed
think-
might be a little
and
synonymous there.
I think
Yeah.
it makes me feel a lot more justified in my decision to not buy one out the gate.
I like how all three of us
all three of
agree
us.
are like, yeah, good thing we didn't buy one right out the gate. Like, haha,
Yeah, it's almost
suckers.
like we all
I'll get one
thought-
in a few months though. Is like my problem also.
Right before they release the new model. Yeah.
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 Oh, I'm gonna wait for that. Like Nintendo doesn't tend to do like multiple versions of one console, but also they didn't tend to do DLC until like last semester.
I would
say-
argue
I'd
their
say
handhelds
yeah,
are-
but handhelds,
Okay,
like not consoles.
handhelds yet though.
But now the
they
Switch
kind
is a
of-
different thing.
The Switch, they've kind of been like pushing. They almost push it more as a handheld. It feels like. to
Yeah.
me.
That's my impression as well.
Yeah, it's like a handheld that also happens to plug into a TV.
And this might be
as
like
opposed to-
a new model, but they don't
Yeah.
say it. Like it'll cost the same, it'll be the same. It'll just be like, hey, a new shipment come out. This is our new model. It
yeah,
fixes
this
these
is
problems.
like we fixed.
It's not
going to
be Switch 2.0 or
and I'm sure
switch it
they'll-
up.
they'll
Bigger hard
offer
drive, a
the-
little
Yeah.
longer battery life.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. I heard the
Doesn't-
battery life is
doesn't
awful.
melt.
Yeah, it doesn't also melt. Doesn't scratch your screen when you put it in. All that good stuff.
But
so
like
it's-
that, you can put a screen protector on, and that solves a lot of that
Yeah, but
problem.
that's still
No,
shitty
yes.
that you have to do that.
There's nothing you can
I mean,
do
it's
about
it's like
them
the same
warping.
thing as like, hey, your iPhone doesn't break when you drop it from like 2 feet if you put a case on. It's like
Yeah.
it shouldn't break when I drop it 2 feet.
I was just saying, like, this problem is just on such another level. It's
Yeah.
like mind blowing.
It's like, how do you not find? Like, they had to know that was a potential issue.
They probably did. They probably totally knew. And
They
were
probably
like,
did
ah,
and
whatever.
figured it was like the money they would lose replacing the consoles if they did, which if there's a big public outcry, they will probably start recalling and replacing. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not recalling, but they'll offer
They'll
to
replace
replace your
it, yeah.
console whenever it does do that.
Your 1-year warranty. But if your 1-year warranty's up, you're probably screwed, I guess, if they would say.
Well,
if it's
considering the
warping.
console's only been out for like,
Yeah, but
a
like,
month.
we'll say you like leave it on one day and you got that first original model and it warps and that warranty's gone, you're screwed.
Yeah, so I'd
which
say
would suck.
if you own a Switch and they
melt it
announce
now.
that they're like, if they announce that they are going to replace them, melt it now.
Yeah, actually destroy your own Switch, buy a Wii U, and play Zelda on that, the inferior version. It's really bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, the Wii U, it's not that good, though.
I
You
own
were
it.
so adamant that was the superior version.
I wasn't adamant. I said I think they're same. That's what I said. I
think-
was wrong. I can admit
I
it that
still
this was a
think they're the
mistake.
same.
It's I played the Switch one recently, and they just patched it. Did they patch the Wii U one recently?
They patched it, but not to the same extent that they patched the Switch.
The Switch is now the superior version.
My guess is as soon as they release a more comprehensive patch for the Wii U, which I don't know what the odds of that are since they really want to sell the Switch. But if they do, and it starts working well in the Wii U, then people will agree with me.
Yeah. And I have it for the Wii U. I still enjoy that game. I just think the Switch version with the new patch, it just makes it a better version. But also Mass Effect's getting patched too, which is interesting for me as I recently started. So I took a break from Persona 5, which I know is going to make Joe angry, but
No, I'm not angry.
it make me it hurt me to do. It was like I need to play the Mass Effect patch. I need to see how this game looks now.
It's
That's
not a real
reasonable.
game.
And like, man, that game loads with like 100 shaders being activated. It's like we're activating 10,000 shaders, which didn't happen when I played the original game. When I played it originally, it wasn't like loading 453 shaders, loading 1,000 shaders, loading 2,000 shaders, and I was like, what is going on? And that game's eyes for people look way better. Mouths look way better. Characters look a little bit more samey.
The facial animations look a lot better.
Facial animations haven't changed that much. It's how the faces look that look better.
All right, so it's making them look less Play-Doh-y.
Yeah, let's play
I saw some before and afters, and it was definitely an improvement.
It's an improvement. I still think that game like is janky and weird.
And I still thought they looked a little ugly. And
they still look a little
uncanny.
ugly. I think uncanny is like those BioWare in general is what you're gonna have to deal with when you play a BioWare game.
I can agree to that. Yeah,
like they're really
Not
really creepy all the time.
Like there's some bad facial animations in Mass Effect 2 and 3 too that people seem to be like deliberately ignoring when they're talking.
Oh
about.
yeah, my friend is like a big. I think these look worse in different ways than the Mass Effect 3 ones. I still think the Mass Effect ones look super robotic-y and like
exactly.
And like I think these look like over animated almost to the point of like
it's
they're
like
like dead on the inside.
Yeah, it's like they corrected too far in the opposite direction.
And I don't think they had enough experience. This is like their really big first game, like I've always said. And I think this is like a really cool. So here you go. Here's Chase Weaver's like idea of what Mass Effect Andromeda 2 should be. Is literally set the game 200 years in the future. Like have those same have your choices matter, what they did, what you picked maybe somehow. I don't know if like really what they're gonna do, but have that game be like, all right, you save these planets. This is what I assume how it's gonna end. You go to that game, you terraform planets pretty much. And 200 years later, you see how that terraforming really went, what that changed, and that's where that game picks up. Like,
and that's where the Reapers come in.
Yeah, and that's when the Reapers come in because they've been in Andromeda the whole time.
That's where they came from.
I don't know if they're there. No, you're dealing with the Ket.
I was gonna say the Reapers came from Dark Space.
Yeah, sure. Whatever that means.
It's just random.
Shut up.
They came from the Deep Strange.
Stop trying to like put lore or correctness into this podcast about Mass Effect.
I'm going to put correct lore for Mass Effect.
Are you saying Dark Souls?
No, Dark. I was
Dark Matter. All right, so the Reapers, the antimatter for humans.
Dark Matter. I hated. Like everybody
this is what I'm talking about, Joe.
Yeah, it happens a lot. Everybody talks about for the ending of Mass Effect 3 that the ending they went with was bad, but their original ending idea was worse. And it involved dark matter. That's why you reminded me.
So dumb.
It was so bad.
I got so off track that quickly.
Okay, back on track.
You want to talk about the Final Fantasy 15 DLC, Joe?
Oh, that's right. I did.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down for you, buddy.
I wrote it down
Final
too.
Fantasy 15.
Hey, stop it, you.
I own that game and I hate it.
We let you talk for like 24 minutes about Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
That's fine.
You don't get to growl.
That's what this was about?
Yo.
That's what the aside was?
Call of Duty World War II, so we got really far sidetracked.
Yeah.
Well, just quick. Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Call of Duty World War II. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
All right, here's go. World War II. Thumbs up. Destiny 2. Thumbs down. Mass Effect Andromeda patches. Thumbs up. Final Fantasy 15 DLC.
Thumbs down.
Oh my
Here
lord.
we go.
Here we go.
All right.
I didn't
So
think you'd say that.
Why?
I don't know, because you like Final Fantasy 15.
We're both pretty cool. We're both pretty cool.
We're
very cool on that game.
We were pretty hot on it for like a hot minute, and like the rest of the hours came in, and then a turtle appeared.
So that game is super interesting. Like I think that's what the hook of playing that game was. It's like this is a game that's been in development for 10 years. I need to see what it's about, and just that whole journey and the adventure I have gone on. Man, let's talk about the Star Scourge. Let's not talk about the Star Scourge. Let's talk about Gladio.
Yeah, the Star Scourge, there's nothing to talk about there. But let's talk about Gladio. Let's talk about how
what is the
all
Star
those characters
Scourge?
suck.
I did not get that far.
No,
we're not.
The game doesn't tell you, so you know what? You're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, the Gladio suck. All the boys in that game suck. Also, I'm gonna say.
Can I say that? Who was the name of the chef guy?
Ignis.
Okay. Actually, the one I hated the most was Prompto. Every time he went down in combat, I was happy because I didn't have to hear him anymore. But Igni, I hate that guy.
I love Iggy. So,
they all suck.
Gladio, his DLC, each character has a DLC pack.
Yeah.
So it's one for each character, and I assume you're playing as them in each of it. I know you're playing as Gladio. So it's basically this one really weird part in the story where he just leaves your party for like no reason. He doesn't say anything about it.
Let's put some background on this. You literally are playing the game, and he goes, I need to leave. I got things to handle for the hunters or whatever.
And you're like, "Aye, man, you got it."
All right,
Fist bump.
see you
Wait,
later.
does that happen in like the base game?
In the base game, he
Yes.
just goes, I'm straight up leaving. I'll be back sometime, and then just leaves.
The
and
real
then like
reason-
after you do a certain amount of stuff, he comes back at a certain point?
Yeah.
Or-
Certain story missions
He comes
pass.
back, but with scars on his face.
yeah,
He's
like
battered.
stuff happened.
So what he does,
and
he
they're
goes,
just like, buy the DLC.
well, he goes to fight Gilgamesh. That's what it is.
Okay.
The guy from the really ancient stories.
Yeah.
in-
Gilgamesh is in like basically.
So
every
yeah,
Final
that's what he's
Fantasy.
based on. He's like a lore character, but he's in every Final Fantasy game as like a master swordsman.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's really cool. I
Yeah.
actually really like
Cool
Gilgamesh as a
bonus
character.
boss. Yeah. That's what he goes to do, which is like a cool concept, but it doesn't really fit. I haven't played it, so like he goes with Core. Like Core is your party member for this one dungeon.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we get to see Core, but like apparently they don't do much with it. Again, I haven't played it, so it's not fair for me to speak on like the quality of that and how much it fills in. But my understanding is that it feels like this is cut content.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like good content when we played the main game. We talked about this when we didn't have our podcast. I've gone real cool on that game as time has come on. I think all those main characters suck, actually. I think their friendship is like super bad in the game too. Like none of it's played well at all. Like
It's like they tell you they're friends.
yeah,
but
they tell you friends.
They don't
well,
really.
no, they're more
show.
like cool to each other. Like guys like, hi, you got a small dick when you catch a small fish, and you're like, this is like shitty friendship 101. This is like shitty masculinity friendship bull crap that I hate in games so much. Where it's like, got bro fist me, bro, and got a small dick, caught a small fish. And you're like, I love you, Gladio. I can't wait to play as you in my next DLC. You piece of actual shit.
You're saying that the game
Sucks.
that had the character like the Cindy the mechanic, who is just like every overblown, like
Yeah.
over-sexualized character ever, had a weird relationship with masculinity.
Yeah, I'm saying this game has
had an outdated relationship.
Yeah,
You're
might have a Japanese related to masculinity where it's
I'm
always bad.
so surprised.
Okay, absolutes here. All right.
Look,
no,
okay,
I'm not being
Chase,
absolute sure. I'm being like this shitty like.
Only the Sith and Chase deal in
Yeah,
absolutes.
that's true. No, and I feel like it's shitty like being that and then like having a nice pairing of Persona where like that game's all about like, you know what friendship really is? Like having nice emotional talks with your friends and understanding your problems and coming to terms with them through friendship. Like that's an interesting pairing to like what is Persona, where it's like Persona's like that's cool, that's really nice and great, even though they have other plethora of other problems in Persona that get thrown in, but that's because Japan's a bad culture sometimes. Who would have thought?
Whoa. Okay.
A bad culture sometimes. I would say the same for America. I'd say the same for Europe. In anything.
I
Okay.
would say the same of pretty much any culture that
Yeah,
exists,
yeah.
is that nothing's perfect.
And like I think they have like as always Persona's really bad gay stereotypes in every single one of their games.
We're
Like
getting ahead of ourselves.
yeah,
With Persona.
we're
again.
not
Keep
even
leading
gonna, we're
into
not
it.
even gonna talk about Persona today. Is like the thing also because we're gonna run out of time. That's like the
Oh, we'll
ins
get
and outs
to
of it.
We'll get to it.
But also StarCraft Remaster's happening, and I wanted to have a little talk about this. StarCraft Remaster's happening. It looks great.
They're remastering the first game?
Yeah,
Yes.
remastering the first game, which is really cool. I'm
I was
really
gonna say, that still has a pretty dedicated following.
it has a
doesn't
pretty dedicated following. I hope they don't change anything for it. I hope it's just StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War. I hope would be in there too. Then right?
Was that the expansion?
That's the expansion,
I
right?
never really. I'm not a big RTS guy. I'm just gonna say this out the gate.
StarCraft's out of my was before my time, really, or like, it
I
wasn't
think
before my time, but it was like
StarCraft's
Not my
before like
computer
all of
games.
our time.
yeah. Brood War was an expansion for StarCraft, correct?
Well, I mean, like Warcraft was out of our time too, but I
Yeah.
still really enjoyed
Well,
Warcraft.
yeah. No,
3.
I'm saying it was like not in like my wheelhouse when I was
right.
getting to it.
I
yeah.
was on the Warcraft side
Yeah.
and the Warhammer side for
yeah.
sure.
And StarCraft Brood War is the expansion for StarCraft,
Right.
correct? Yeah. So like
Yes.
I hope they have that in there as well. I didn't see if they did or didn't.
Usually, anytime they do these like remasters of games that had DLC, they always include the DLC.
It should. And this is expansion, so that is a different kind of thing than DLC. Like those things
This
are.
is also true.
It's odd.
You
stuff
would
back in
expect
the
it all to
day.
be packaged together, though.
I would
I
hope
mean,
so.
expansions were
But this is
kind of
Blizzard we're talking about, where things get weird at Blizzard.
yeah.
They do kind of money gouge you sometimes. That is
There's
a
a company
Blizzard
that has
way.
a strangely like squeaky clean PR like personality, it seems, for all the shady stuff they pull.
Yeah, they have great PR teams. Is like what I'd say about Blizzard.
Yeah.
But I think the point is, this is like a good remaster.
Yeah,
to me.
this
Like,
is a game to bring back.
this is something that I think there is value in remastering.
But
it's
how
not,
Oh yeah, no. I agree that like it has value. Sorry, I thought you were done for a second.
It's not like we're taking Watch Dogs and putting it in like HD or something on the next console or whatever.
Yeah.
Bad example. I was thinking of Sleeping Dogs. My bad.
Yeah.
It's like we're actually taking this game that is really hard to play right now, that is only for like the most hardcore. We're bringing it back and giving this to a new audience that can enjoy it again and sustain it on servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that regard, I can agree, especially if it's like now it doesn't keep up with current operating systems like that. If it has that hurdle to it to actually play it, then that alone can be a justification for it. But are they really like putting in the extra mile to remaster it? Are they like redoing
we'll
not just textures and maps, but like animations and everything just to bring it up?
I think it's going to be a complete remaster. Is what they're painting it as. I hope it is. At least for me, I think that game looked brand new.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think StarCraft has like one of the coolest looks. For like, I think Blizzard always has a good look for their games. I think StarCraft is no like slouch in that category either. Is what
it would be nice if it looked nicer than StarCraft 2.
Yeah, that's what I would hope as well. So speaking of remasters, what would you guys want to see remastered as a game? Like if you had to pick one right now off the top of your head, a game to get remastered, brought to the new generation, fully redone, what would you want to see?
Like not just like the textures or retouched,
like Ratchet and
like,
Clank.
Yeah, I was thinking like, okay, I hate to bring up Call of Duty just because.
Good, all right, this is my friend. This is my friend right
Call
here.
of Duty Modern Warfare remastered level, where they like redid all the animations, all of the like stuff, but kept the core mechanics the same.
Gotcha. So yeah, if I had to pick a Call of Duty game, it'd be 2 still. Like I'd want to see 2.
No, I'm saying like that level of
5.
No, I'm saying that level of remastering.
Yeah.
Like, that's like my. I'm not saying 4 is what I want remastered.
One
because it's already happened.
Yeah. Do you have a pick of a game you would?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, what is a game that I think needs that level of a makeover for me to play it again?
All right, Joe just got it right here. He's waiting.
Tales of the Abyss.
Okay, it was Tales of the Abyss for Joe.
I knew it was going to be a JRPG.
Remaster this baby. So if we got this game like in HD with new textures and most importantly like voiced skits, this game would be a masterpiece. Just be fantastic. That's all I want to see. I want to see an HD version of that game, like as it was meant to be. Looks like Vesperia with the full voice acting, and then with like Japanese voice options too. Like it'd be perfect to me.
Gotcha. What about you, Thomas?
You first, because I'm still thinking.
I've always had like a real big love for the original Doom. I'd love to see the original Doom kept the same levels and everything, but looked totally like a brand new video game. I think would be kind of one of the coolest and weirdest things to see. Because I don't want to. Because most games I'm pretty fine with never being remastered. Because I usually don't have trouble going back and going, this game doesn't look good. Or if I had to pick my second game to get totally remastered, totally redone again, would be Cubivore. Because I'd want to see Cubivore redone again. Because Cubivore's a game I think that if you changed a lot of things and redid it all, it'd be a really good game. And Cubivore's a game I have like a lot of weird love for, as like, you know me, liking weird, dumb, interesting takes on games. Like Cubivore's like a game where like you eat other cubes to gain their powers and you procreate to make better cube monsters, and it's like weird Spore style for like the PlayStation. I love that game.
It's a good pick.
Cubivore's a good pick.
Good pick.
I want my weird games to come back. I don't give a shit about playing Call of Duty 2 remastered. I want Cubivore.
I was gonna say, I feel like I'm gonna get a little bit of flack.
Of course you will.
Yeah, because I think I've actually talked about this with you before.
Probably, man.
Army of Two.
Oh my God! Why would you pick Army of Two?
I love that game. Like some of my fondest memories of like way back in the day, like late middle school, early high school.
Yeah, I like getting that aggro, putting bling on my guns, brap.
Yeah, no, it was
motherfucker.
It was playing Army of Two couch co-op with like one of my friends, and like I feel like there's not a lot of great couch co-op experiences anymore.
That's true. I think couch co-op's kind of a dead thing. I think couch competitive co-op's coming back.
Let me tell you about Overcooked.
I said couch competitive co-op is coming back. Actually, that's cooperative too.
Yeah, no, but
Overcooked's great.
Overcooked's great.
Love's here. Remastered cool. Overcooked. Bring it back.
Remaster the game that came out like less than a year ago.
Came out last year.
Nominated for best multiplayer again. This is the year.
Yeah, we bringing it back.
Sorry, Thomas.
But yeah, no, that's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a game that deserves a second chance because there's a lot of great ideas that just didn't pan out very well. And I think like a fresh team coming back to it could give it.
Yeah, I think that had to be given to a whole new team because like the team that did it tried
I'd
once,
honestly even say like
tried twice, and then the third time, and like each time it got. Second one's the worst. I think we can all agree on that. And the third one's worse than the first one because the first one was unique when it came out.
But it's better than the second one.
And you can put some bling on your gun and you can go, I'm gunning the aggro as you shoot your minigun at people, light machine gun.
Yeah. But
I'll never forget aggro
I would even say like beyond remaster, like a soft reboot.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Even like take that original story from the first one.
Like I said, like if
we
retool
it to make it a little more like solid, and then take the story in a completely different direction from that point forward if they kept going.
Does 2K own the license?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think 2K's got
Wait,
that one.
no, well, Visceral's the one who made the last one, the Devil's Cartel.
Okay.
So
Visceral?
Yeah, Visceral, the guys who make Dead Space. And
God, they've just gone so downhill as like a team.
yeah, here's the thing.
Jesus.
Like Visceral makes great games
So
that are
that'd
their
be
own
EA
IP.
then, right?
Yeah.
Does
EA
EA
owns-
own the rights?
That'd be EA. If it's
So-
Visceral, then EA owns it.
The odds of it getting a reboot at some point in its life cycle are fairly high if EA
Yeah.
owns it.
If
And
that
I-
went from EA Montreal, Buzz Monkey Software to Visceral Games. That went through 3 different
So it was never
developers,
2K.
and they all fucked it up. That game's
Yeah.
dead. It's dead. Kill it.
No, I think the first one presents too many
Give it to
like,
DICE.
fun
You
ideas.
asked him what he
Give
would
it to
reboot,
DICE.
That's his answer, and I respect it. The
I-
good
I-
ideas.
I
they
like
deserve a
the
second
respect.
chance.
Yeah, no, I respect it. I think it's a bad decision, but I like it. I like the thrill of going for it. But let's get into what we've been playing, and we want to talk about Persona 5. Like that's gonna be what's gonna happen.
All right, I'm going to sit over here and I'm
You're
going
gonna be
turn
interested. I
to the
think you're gonna
wall.
be interested in what this is.
I will be.
This
I
Persona
will
5
give
is
my.
so
I have
interesting.
so much to say.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you
and
have
I-
dive.
I will give my 2 cents on what I hear, but know that everything I'm saying is based on what I'm hearing from you two and not from actual experience with the game.
Yeah, of
Nor
course.
have I played a Persona game at all, so I don't really know what these games are like.
And we talked a little bit the other day, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of new things because I've played a lot more.
Yeah,
since
I think next week we're gonna have our real discussions. I had to take a break because a lot of like family stuff happened. I just didn't play that much mini video games. Had a lot of things I had to plan out.
Yes,
But I've beaten the first dungeon, and you've beaten the second dungeon by now?
I'm like right before the boss.
Okay, right for the boss. So you've played a little more than me. I've played I think we played a fair enough bit to like know what our opinions on this game are, and it is great.
It's a great game.
It's a great game.
Great game.
10 out of 10. Maybe not, but we'll see.
It's a
It's
great
so
game.
good.
I don't want to give a rating until I finish the game.
You're
Right now,
not thinking.
It's a 9 for me.
Okay.
Right now, because like there's like some real problems I have with that game, but man, is that music good.
That
Also,
music's so good.
and it's so different
Oh
again
my-
from like there's no lyrics in it. It's just it's
Hold
mellowed
on.
out. There's some lyrics, but
You're giving it a 9 based solely on its soundtrack.
on it,
The
soundtrack's
soundtrack's
a
a
10.
10.
Like hands down.
Oh
like
my
if you're gonna
God.
base a
Yeah,
game
but,
on
like,
a soundtrack,
there
it's
are-
a 10.
There are like god awful shit piles of a game that have
No,
great
I'm saying
soundtracks.
right now as a game in my head, it's a 9.
Yeah.
But like the music, we just on top of the music.
The
for a
music
second.
like
It's-
elevates it to an extent. Yeah.
No,
Persona
yeah,
music
of
has
course.
like overhauled how I look at video game soundtracks.
Yeah,
And that's not an exaggeration. Like I know I hyperbolize a lot, but like
yeah.
We all do. It's our culture. It's
Like,
what we do.
the way that those games are composed is just
It's amazing.
There's nothing else like them.
No.
There's no other soundtrack.
In
like
what
a Persona
regard
soundtrack.
would you say personally? Like what sets it apart so much?
It's
to
like
you?
themed super appropriately for the game, like to a T, where every music's appropriately themed for each part of where you play it. Almost
Tone matches.
and like, and for a 120-hour long game to have that tone always be perfect the whole time through is really impressive.
So it's not just that the music is good; it's that it's good and fits
The
and,
game
like too perfectly.
perfectly, like-
And it's also incredibly unique in that
Yeah.
it isn't afraid to use vocalized tracks in
a lot.
anywhere. And the vocals are weird sometimes
Yeah.
too.
Persona 3 is like a perfect example of like getting into a game and having weird vocals that match the style and the mood.
It's
Like,
this weird, creepy game about death and
Yeah.
sadness, but then it's also got these weird hip hop moments.
it wasn't just
going
like it's
on.
like these weird like kind of darker underbeat like hip hop tracks of like where guys like "There's one,"
Yeah.
like, and you're like, what is going on here? And it feels strange and odd, but, it's so
at the
catchy
same
and
time,
so
like,
good.
it fits in with like the tone that you're
Yeah,
in.
and Persona
the
4 is
world
like
you're in.
You've got this upbeat,
yeah,
kind of happy.
upbeat, but you're in this like up like you're in the small like town. Everyone's kind of happy on the outside, but when you go into the TV, everything's like kind of like hard
warped
pressing
and
beat.
distorted.
Yeah, and
almost.
like it's all, and then you get like your dungeons where like you're gonna be in the game dungeon and it has like this great game rendition where like it it plays like an 8-bit track, then it builds to like an actual orchestra starts coming. Oh, it's mwah,
And now in
chef
Persona
kisses
5,
all over.
Red game about anger and
Anger,
stealing.
it's
and-
about rebellion and
Yes.
uprising is really what that game is about, and it. Holy my God, this game is such a good story so far.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh, well, I'm so into the idea of like when you're like, Japanese government with Persona 5, like that game is so anti the government of it.
No, that's
It is
just
so
been
much about like young
it's just
people
been a-
fuck you, like young people are gonna
no,
fuck
no, no.
up old people right
The
now.
It's like the
the whole-
establishment fucks
yeah,
over young
fuck
people.
Yeah,
me, yeah.
The whole-
so good.
Exploitation.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that whole thing is just a running joke with one of my friends on the
Oh.
other show I work on, Down to Film, where he always talked about, I've been waiting so long, this game's been getting delayed, and it's finally come out, and I kept trying to convince him that the game doesn't actually exist.
It's finally
it's
winter
just gonna be-
2014.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
We finally made it to winter. That's when it was supposed to come out
Yeah,
in America.
dude, it's-
Well, originally.
originally, yeah. Original
And
release.
the
was
first release date was winter
the
2014.
game's been delayed forever.
And it came out in April of 2017.
But oh my god, this game feels like it's almost made for this generation in a weird way of like, oh man, the establishment's really fucking you guys over. Why don't you just take it back and fuck them up because nothing's really working out for you. And it's a game really about like teen rebellion. Persona 4 and 3 are never about like there's teenagers aspects too, but they don't really get into like hardships of being a teenager almost of like the real like it's like shadows are the bad part, but everything else at school is kind of hard, but it's fair. And this is like, no, these is stacked up against you, and you're going to use your weird powers to fight the system.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. I'm so into that ideal. And then everyone else around you is like a criminal who's trying to help you get your way. It's such a good, unique take that felt way fresher than 4, felt fresh from 3. This feels like super awesome.
Like they did it again.
They did it again. They did it again.
And like they hit you right away with heavy shit.
Yeah.
Like, not really a spoiler, but like they talk about like.
I mean, I think you can spoil the first 5 minutes of a video
like
game.
Like the first
okay.
arc, like that first dungeon of like.
Oh
what
yeah,
the
the
bad
first
guy
dungeon
does.
is so good.
Well, like what he does.
Yeah,
like,
he's awful.
He like beats his students. He's a volleyball teacher, and
yeah.
he's like a Olympic gymnast, and everyone in the school loves and respects him because like he puts them on the map.
Yeah, but he's also like a huge piece of shit.
He gets to do whatever he wants because of that.
He's the king of the castle.
So like he sexually harasses his students and he like beats his people.
Yeah, and it's really shitty because like you like everyone respects him, and then like all the teachers know that he's doing it, like it all gets
the parents know.
Yeah, the parents know. Everyone knows he's beating them.
The parents know that their students on the volleyball team.
But he puts that school on the map, so it's okay, you know.
So
like
it's just like they're brushing things under under the rug just
and you're
because
like,
it brings in.
And then you go to the alternate universe,
fame.
and he's in. I don't care for spoiling this because I just want to talk about it. It's so good.
I mean,
he's
pretty
literal,
good odds I'm not going to play
He's a
this
literal
game.
king of the castle, and like so you go to the alternate world where it's a school and it's a castle, and he's the king of the castle.
It's how he perceives his
the
reality.
His reality. He's king, and everyone's oogling him, and he's the best, and he's beating the shit out of people, and oh, it's so good.
And then one of the main character's best friends tries to kill herself.
Yeah, because of like this shitty like treatment, and so you're like, I'm gonna go. So you're gonna go down there and steal something important to him. Like steal his heart.
You steal his literal desires.
Yeah, you steal his literal desire. His heart is what they call it.
So that he has a change of heart. Like you're stealing all of his like the badness in his heart. So that he will come clean and turn over a new leaf.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that you can reform this person instead of just like destroy this person.
Yes. That's actually exactly it. Because you do
That's actually kind of interesting, especially because you say it's something about like anti-establishment in a way, like the system beating you. Yeah. It seems less to be about not destroying all these structures just to destroy them and get rid of them, at least from this perspective. That's not the idea of like reform. Like,
it's reform the system. Like I think you can't change.
It doesn't strip the humanity out of the people in the system. I'm waiting to see how it
plays it out. They set up stakes in there and be like, if you screw this up, the person will die. And in Persona, that usually means someone's gonna die or you're gonna screw it up or something bad's gonna happen. And you're literally in jail at the beginning of the game, so something has gone wrong.
The game is a flashback.
Yeah,
as of now.
And I'm assuming it's like this isn't like a choice system type thing. Like it follows a linear path. Like
even though I was like, nah, it's cool. We should kill this guy. Like I was pretty okay with like murder.
I figured you would be.
I mean, like look. All right. I don't think I'm wrong in this for saying like if this person's killing everyone and no one's doing anything, I'm gonna kill him. Like I think it's okay to like give him a heart attack and he dies. Like everyone's like, no, Chase. I'm like, he's literally beating people and almost caused someone to commit suicide and no one's doing anything. And I have magic powers. Persona.
Which, by the way, you summon personas by taking off your mask.
Yeah, you take off. Everyone has a mask on, so you take your mask off. Your persona, you literally light yourself on fire. First of all, which is awesome, and then your persona appears.
You see him float behind you and gets ready.
So they just go through their everyday life wearing a mask. In this
no,
game?
Well, it's only in the metaverse.
You know, in the real world, you put on a mask around people, and in the metaverse, you take off your mask and you get to see your true self.
Your real person.
Your persona. It's good. It's
Captain
so good.
Kid.
So everyone's Persona also top-notch Persona work all around.
Designs are 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. This game is always design and music has always been like a 10 in these games. Presentation.
Oh my god.
Style.
That UI is I'll just like swap through the menus just to see the animations.
I mean, you go talk to one dude. Let's say you talk to the weapon shop owner. And you talk to him, and all of a sudden his silhouette pulls up, and he's leaning back in a chair, and he like has like a cigarette on. He's like an army man, and you're like pull up gun, then you put then the whole entire transition switches into him looking at you like this, and all the weapons appear, and you're picking one. He's like, "Good job, yeah, some of that." And you pull back, he switches all the way back, going to selling, changes to a different thing. Oh,
And
clean.
And I know that like each game has a color to it. Like this one's red. I think this embraces the whole color palette more than the rest, while not betraying the red, because you have the yellows and the blues. You go to the doctor lady, you get that blue. Persona 3 blue.
Oh yeah.
You go to that, the weapon shop dude. I'm like, I can see Persona 6. This green, that's how that would look. Like I can visualize.
It's so good. This game has like beautiful style, beautiful music, like art direction 10. I'm just hoping to see how this whole story pans out, and the gameplay. It's a step back a little bit in some areas, and a step forward, I think, in other areas of uniqueness. But a lot of I don't know if I like it as much as I like the previous games.
This is where I want to dig in. So as someone who has conquered most of the second palace, there are things that I'm now enlightened on.
Okay.
So we talked about how demon negotiations, they're back, they're watered down. They're undeniably watered down.
Undeniably. It is written to the game, watered down.
Yes.
Like, that's just how it is.
I think that just because we were in the first palace, everything seems a little easier and more casual.
I didn't think so. I thought that first dungeon was easy, but I think that's how it was supposed to be. I already felt that way. Like I was already there with that.
I think the second dungeon makes the first dungeon look bad.
Okay.
I love the second dungeon.
Gotcha.
Well,
and I don't want to say more about it.
Yeah, it's just it's your tutorial dungeon. I think that's
a tutorial dungeon as well as like you say it's casualized that was the word you chose to use.
Yeah.
It might be the idea being that they think there might be a lot of new people like jumping in as Persona 5 is their first dungeon.
I think that's why this is.
They
want
to make sure they have like a first dungeon that gets you into it and gets you the base concepts without overwhelming you, and then they can start throwing it at you as hard as they can.
So the reason we say that it was watered down is they've assigned them to just 4 personality types, and that's been in Persona 1. There's personality
I think
types.
The demon talking, I think we're just talking about combat. I think demon talking. I think we can all agree here, even though you never played it. It is watered down version.
It's not that
easy.
Like they throw in more questions, I think, that make it not like I got a couple not perfect. So like I would answer not wrong, but I would get like the middle answer, so I'd get an item instead of them joining me.
Gotcha.
I think it's ramping up.
Okay.
It's not so clear cut what the right answer is as much as the first dungeon, and I think it's going to continue along that trend.
That's good. I'm excited to see how that all plays.
I don't think
it's
ever going to be like a Nocturne. It's never. It
was never going to be completely random, like Shin Megami Tensei 4 or Nocturne.
And we talked about. I think it might be a good direction because it's giving a little bit of logic to it. The problem is the logic is maybe a little too easy to read as of right now.
That's true. Yeah.
And I want to talk about the stealth with you.
Okay, let's talk about stealth. And this is gonna be the wrap up for this thing. I know we want to talk longer here, but we do not have much time.
This is a turn-based game, isn't it?
It's a turn-based game, but
how do you incorporate stealth
here you go.
into turn-based?
So you know how you find encounters in the game. They're out there. You can see the encounters like in Earthbound style. They're out there. You can see them.
All right.
And so if the enemy spots you, they'll run at you, and a stealth thing will go up. And if you 100%, you can't go back to the dungeon. That means you'll get kicked out of the dungeon. So you gotta like hide behind walls by pressing X, and you enter like cover and stuff, and then you can just kind of like move around a little bit, and you can do little stealth moves. And then you can walk up behind them and ambush them, pull off their mask, and they get stunned. You get the attack on them.
And it's a little janky.
So it's extremely janky. Not extremely, just janky.
Going into the second dungeon, I don't know if I've learned it better. I think the geometry is better too.
Okay.
It clicked a little better.
Gotcha.
There are still moments where I've done something wrong by accident, but I got the flow.
Gotcha. I remember just being like in the first dungeon, I was on a wall, and I wanted to move to literally right next to me, and I had to like leave. I had to like get out of it, then get back into it, and then it would be like, you can go to this one now.
That's still kind of there,
and that's really annoying. Especially when they put up like you cannot fight all these enemies here. You have to stealth. Like you can't fight
like
2 bears and 2
pixies.
Yeah, don't fight those 2 bears and 2 pixies. It's gonna screw you right up, and you're like, okay, got it, and then it screws you right up, and you're like, okay, got it.
I've noticed that like. You're not always utilizing that. Like I'll be doing stealth just by like walking and hiding behind things manually. Not actually using like the wall cover system.
Yeah, I think that applies to. I hope it just like I mean it just clicks more. I think it's still just a little janky, but I don't think it's like game ruining jank. It's just like it's a little tough to get used to, and it's probably gonna be tough the whole time through.
And then final thought. The whole fact of the revamped dungeons fundamentally changes this game from 3 and 4 to me. Like, so much. Like, the random dungeon aspect of it, I did not realize was so, like, defining. Because this is practically, like, a different subgenre at this point to me.
This is not a random dungeon anymore. This is all, like, set up. And it changes in the way how I played it. And
absolutely.
4 and 3, well, in 3, I played that game. In 3, I played till I got to the part where they could get out.
I think 3 is different from 4 too.
Yeah. Well, I played this like how I'd explore the dungeons the same way. It was like, I get to the top and they go, you fit a mini boss, here's your sub, now you can leave.
Yes.
And 4, I would literally, in one round, go, I'm doing the whole dungeon. And would like stock up and leave and just sell my money back, give me the full HP, I'm going to go back in. And would just keep doing that. And I just keep doing that over and over again until I could get through the dungeon on one go. Every single time. until I could hit that. I did it one dungeon, one go. In this game, it's like you can knock through the whole dungeon on the first try. I don't think they even want you to.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I like it. Like I got on my first dungeon run in the first dungeon, I only got to the halfway, the mini boss you fight, the Judgment character, and like that's when I had to call it quits. Like, because all my characters like were low on SP, and I was like, I'm gonna do this mini boss and see if I can do it. And I did, and they're like, also all the shadows spawned, and I was like, oh, this is a dick move game. So I was like dead. I had no SP left. Everyone was kind of like screwed.
I think that's awesome.
It was real tough. I got out there and I went to save room.
It's risk reward, I think. I think that's really exciting.
And so like no matter what, I feel like I can only get through that first dungeon in 3 tries. Like only 3 and 3 goes. You can only get through that dungeon. You have to do 1, 2, and then fight the boss.
Yes.
Which was cool. I like that. Because like in other games, I just try to do as fast as I could every single time. Because you want to get back out there and help your friends, talk to your buddies.
I cannot wait for you to get to the second dungeon and talk more.
I think we'll have like little Persona update diaries, but today's been a bit stressful getting everything together. It's been a crazy week for all of us 24/7, but we're going to call it quits. So this has been Chase.
I've been Joe.
And I've been Thomas.
And I hope you enjoyed the objective perspective. We'll see you guys later.
I was doing so good. Been a long time since I felt this way. But you cracked that shell. Only time will tell, so I'll wash my hands of it. That mess of presence makes me nervous, and I don't deserve this. What could I do? You didn't ask for this, so I'll wash my hands of it. I was doing so